Hello everyone. We are launching a special edition of our training Offensive Azure Operations and Tactics course at NotSec. It is a 3-day edition of our training wherein a lot of new content has been added that includes Azure DevOps based abuses and some of the use cases or abuse scenarios that can allow you to bypass conditional access policy. I'm going to demo you one of such scenario in this particular video. So let us assume that we have compromised one of the user credentials. We have clear text credentials of a user, but due to conditional access policy, we are not able to access that particular user account, or we cannot perform any enumeration using that particular user account privileges, right? So for demo, I have created this conditional access policy. This conditional access policy applies only for one user, that is MFA test. It is applicable for all the cloud applications. None of the cloud applications are excluded. And in the access control, we can see that the configuration is set as required a compliant device, which means only a user can only authenticate from a compliant device. To validate this, we can open an incognito mode, go to Azure portal, try to authenticate using this user credentials and see if we are allowed to authenticate. Okay, my bad. And okay, now we can see that the conditional access policy has blocked us, right? To overcome this, we are going to use two tools, that is PyTunes, and we are going to use RoadTX, right? We will use PyTune to register a dummy device by leveraging Intune company portals application ID and backend, which will bypass or allow us to register a dummy device without triggering an MFA requirement for a current user. To avoid typos, I'm going to copy paste commands. So first command is to join a dummy device WKL underscore desktop with a OS type Windows using our current user credentials to the current tenant. It would take few seconds to register a dummy device, which would be marked as enter ID join. Once the device is joined, we can see that we got a device certificate. Then we are going to enroll this particular device to Intune. It might take few seconds. Once the enrollment is done, we can see that the enrollment is done. We can now check if the device is compliant. In our case, the device would be marked as compliant because we don't have any additional Intune policies that are defined in this current environment, right? And we can see that the device is marked as compliant. Now, there could be multiple use cases. One of the use case that I'm going to show you is, what if you use this particular credentials, that is the device certificate, with the current user and generate a PRT using a RoadTX tool, and then using that PRT, we would try and access Azure portal. So let us see this if it works. We can see that we managed to get a PRT and the session keys. And now we are going to use RoadTX browser PRT auth and then specify portal.azure.com. In this case, we will see that the user is not yet registered for MFA. And we can see that it opened Mozilla Firefox and it's trying to authenticate in backend, and we would see that we get an prompt to set up MFA, which states that the conditional access policy is bypassed here, right? Now, this is something that we have also seen in the real environments. What if we don't want to do this, but we still want to enumerate the target environment? Now, what we could do, we could use RoadTX to request an access token for MS Graph resource type. Once we do that, we can see that the access tokens are stored in this particular file. Let us read the access token. We can see this access token. We'll copy this particular access token, go to a PowerShell window that I have opened here. I'll copy this particular access token, and I've made a simple query that would enumerate all the users that are present in the current environment, right? And we can see that we are doing all this without triggering MFA, and we also managed to bypass conditional access policy. That's all for this particular demo video. Thank you.